What if I told you there's a version of your life sitting at exactly $0 a year in passive income, and another version, same person, same brain, same 24 hours in a day, pulling in $1 million a year without lifting a finger? Same you, completely different life. Today, I'm going to walk you through every single level of that journey. What your bank account looks like, what your stress looks like, what your Tuesday morning looks like. From zero all the way to $1 million a year in passive income. This is Ron, and if you've ever wondered what it actually feels like at each stage of this climb, stick around, because level 5 is where most people quit and level 7 is where everything changes. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. This channel is all about building real financial systems that work while you sleep, and I don't want you missing the next one. All right. Let's start at the bottom. Let's talk about $0 a year. This is where almost everyone starts, and there is zero shame in that. At this level, every single dollar you earn comes from your time. You wake up, you trade hours for money, and the moment you stop working, the income stops too. There is no cushion, there is no system running in the background. If you get sick for a week, your income for that week is just gone. Your mental state here is usually one of two things. Either blissful ignorance, where you haven't even thought about passive income yet, or quiet anxiety, where you know you're one missed paycheck away from a problem. Your bank account balance swings wildly with your paycheck cycle. Feast for 3 days, famine for 11. But here's the thing about zero. It's not a permanent condition, it's a starting line. Every person you've ever admired for their financial freedom started exactly here. Now let's move to $1,000 a year in passive income. This sounds small. It is small, but something massive happens psychologically at this level. You prove to yourself that money can come in without you clocking in. Maybe it's $50 a month from a dividend portfolio. Maybe it's a small print-on-demand shop. Maybe it's affiliate links on a blog nobody reads yet. At this level, your life doesn't change financially. You still need your job. You still feel the pressure of rent and bills, but your identity starts to shift. You start checking a dashboard instead of just your paycheck. You start reading about compound interest at 11 at night instead of scrolling social media. This is the level where habits form, and habits, not motivation, are what carry you to the next stage. Now, $10,000 a year. This is where things start to feel real. $10,000 a year is roughly $830 a month, enough to cover a car payment, a chunk of rent, or your entire grocery bill without touching your day job income. You start to feel a strange, quiet confidence. You're not rich. You're not close to rich. But you have proof of concept. At this stage, most people have 2 or 3 income streams stacked. Maybe dividend stocks, a small digital product, and some affiliate income. Your evenings start looking different. Instead of pure leisure, you're spending an hour or two a few nights a week optimizing what already exists, rather than starting new things from scratch. You're playing defense and offense at the same time. This is also, statistically, where a lot of people plateau for years, because $10,000 a year feels good enough to relax, but it's not enough to change your life. Don't get comfortable here. Now let's jump to $50,000 a year in passive income. This is a genuinely life-altering number for most people, because $50,000 a year is close to or exceeds the median individual income in most cities. At this level, passive income isn't a side hobby anymore, it's a legitimate second salary that showed up without a second job. Your relationship with your primary job changes here. You might not quit, but you could, and knowing you could changes everything about how you show up to work. You negotiate harder. You say no to unreasonable demands. You stop being afraid of your boss, because for the first time, your boss isn't the only thing standing between you and your bills. At this stage, your systems have matured. You likely have a real investment portfolio throwing off dividends, 1 or 2 digital products or content platforms generating consistent monthly revenue, and possibly rental income or royalties. You're no longer building from nothing. You're reinvesting profits into scaling what already works. Now, $100,000 a year in passive income. This is the number that changes rooms. When you walk into a financial conversation at this level, you're not the person asking questions anymore. You're the person other people ask questions to. At $100,000 a year, passive income alone could replace a full-time job for most people in most parts of the world. This is where real freedom starts to feel tangible, not theoretical. You could wake up tomorrow, tell your employer you're done, and your lifestyle wouldn't collapse. Most people at this level don't quit immediately, but the psychological weight of work disappears. You work because you want to, not because you have to. Your systems at this point are diversified and largely automated. Real estate producing monthly cash flow, a stock and bond portfolio on autopilot, digital products or licensing deals running through automated funnels, maybe even a small team managing the parts you don't want to touch personally. Your job now is not creating income, it's protecting and optimizing income that already exists. Now, $250,000 a year. At this level, your biggest problem shifts from how do I make more money to how do I not lose this to taxes, inflation, or bad decisions. This is where a lot of high earners actually get financially reckless, because the money feels unlimited even when it isn't. Life here looks like real estate holdings across multiple properties, a serious equities and bond portfolio, and often at least one business or content platform that essentially runs itself with a small team. You're likely working with an accountant, maybe a financial advisor, and you're thinking in terms of asset protection, trusts, LLCs, proper insurance, not just income generation. The game has changed from build to structure. Now, $500,000 a year in passive income. At $500,000 a year, passive income alone puts you in territory very few people ever reach, working or not. This is where the phrase financial freedom stops being aspirational and becomes descriptive. You are financially free, full stop. At this stage, your life is almost unrecognizable compared to the version of you at $0 a year. You likely have a real estate portfolio generating serious monthly cash flow, a seven-figure or near seven-figure investment portfolio, and business or licensing income that runs with minimal daily input from you. Your calendar is your own. Your stress is no longer will I make rent? It's how do I make sure this lasts for the next 50 years and the 50 years after that for my family. And finally, $1 million a year in passive income. This is the top of the mountain we're climbing today. $1 million a year without lifting a finger means your money is now working harder than almost any job ever could. At this level, you're not managing income, you're managing an ecosystem. Real estate, equities, bonds, businesses, royalties, possibly a family office, or a dedicated wealth management team handling the details you don't want to touch. Your daily life at this stage is defined by choice, not obligation. You wake up and decide what you want to do with your day, not what you have to do to survive it. Time, the one resource nobody can manufacture more of, is now fully yours. But here's the truth that matters more than the number itself. The person who reaches $1 million a year in passive income is not fundamentally different from the person sitting at zero. They just kept building. Level after level, habit after habit, system after system. They didn't skip steps, they stacked them. So here's what I want you to take from this. Every level we just walked through, 0, 1,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, 250,000, 500,000, all the way to $1 million a year, is a door that's already open for you. You don't need to jump from 0 to a million. Nobody does that. You need to get from 0 to 1,000, then 1,000 to 10,000. Then you keep stacking, level by level, system by system, until one day you look up and realize the life you're living now was the someday version of yourself from years ago. The only real difference between someone at 0 and someone at a million is time, consistency, and a willingness to build systems instead of chasing paychecks. If this video gave you a clearer picture of where you are right now and where you're headed, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment telling me which level you're currently on. I read every single one, and I want to know where you're starting from. This is Ron, and I'll see you in the next video.